Hello everyone. Welcome to this exclusive session on mapping the history of singularity, organized by ISRB's very own science magazine, Chrysalis. So, who better, right, to map the history of singularity than the people who've been there and done it all? So, in order to span the entire spectrum of singularity over the years, we have with us some amazing guests. So, to give us insights from the very initial days of singularity, we have Dr. Akash Jain. And to give a newer and fresh perspective, we have Rishikesh Nambudripad and Shreyansh Agarwal. So, please allow me to welcome these special guests. And thank you for agreeing to be a part of this. It is an honor to be able to talk to you about singularity. So, of course, I know you guys, but for the audience, let me just give a brief introduction about each of you. Rishikesh Nambudripad, he was the Science Council Secretary during the year 2019 to 20, and he organizes Singularity 2019. He's currently a fifth year BSMS student at IISER Bhopal, majoring in physics, and he's currently pursuing his MS thesis on the stability dynamics of Higgs potential using Axia and dark matter. Wow.
You just read out my thesis, but okay.
So during his tenure, he and his wonderful team, which I had the opportunity to be a part of, made some remarkable contributions, including National Science Day celebrations, introduction of some of the new clubs like the Economics Club, etc. So, hi Rishikesh.
Hello.
Okay, so next up, we have Shreyansh Agarwal. He was the Science Council Secretary during the year 2018 to 19, and he organized Singularity 2018 along with his wonderful team. I think that was my first Singularity. However, he had been part of the Singularity team since his very first year. I think that was 2016, right?
Yeah.
So his team began the science magazine Chrysalis during his tenure. That is great. So he's a physics major. He completed his master's thesis in theoretical particle physics in 2021, and he'll be pursuing his PhD at CISA, Italy. Hi, Shreyansh.
Hi.
And our final guest, Dr. Akash Jain. He was the founder of the erstwhile Science Club of IISER Bhopal, founded in 2010. It was called Singularity back then. He was also a coordinator and a huge part of the first edition of IISER Bhopal's Science Fest Singularity, which was conducted for the first time in 2014. He graduated from IISER Bhopal in 2014 with a BS degree in physics. And he's currently doing his postdoc at the Institute of Theoretical Physics, University of Amsterdam in Netherlands. So, hello, guys.
Hello.
So I guess it's better if we just dive right into the questions, right?
All right.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, I can't help but notice this one common factor among all of you that catches the eye. I mean, all of us, that we are all physics majors. So, is this like a bad ad hoc hypothesis in the making, or what do we have here?
Well, I cannot say much about it because I obviously was only there for the first edition of Singularity, and we happened to be physicists. That was true. Like the two senior most people that were organizing the fest at the time were physicists, but the rest of the team we had an amalgam of almost everybody. So I don't know what happened after. Like why are physicists more inclined towards organizing the fest rather than others? I couldn't say.
Right. Okay. But that's good. That's a really interesting thing.
I was just saying that I suppose physicists have more time at their hands. They don't, right? I guess most of us are theoretical physicists, so we don't really have to go to a lab to do what. So maybe we have more time to like kill and organize events like this.
Right. Okay, so
That can be
the
a
first
genuine
question.
reason.
I think Gaurav Kucheria was the only math major, probably, who organized Singularity.
Right.
Have we had other majors like chemistry and biology?
No, I don't
I'm
think so.
not
Like
sure. I
most
don't
of
think so.
them are, I think, physics majors. Like most of who I have
I
seen
mean,
at
the
least.
science council secretary during my time was the biology majors.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
but
Oh.
Ramesh Anand Mishra. But at the time we hadn't started Singularity yet. So maybe that doesn't sound too well.
Okay, interesting fact. So this question is mostly to Akash. So you
Mhm.
know how most institutions have one fest with a melange of technical and cultural events. So
Mhm.
with that in mind, how did you come up with a idea of a standalone science fest, which resonates with the identity of our institution?
I mean, I guess it's a valid question in hindsight, right? That you could ask. But at the time, our institute started in 2009, and from 2010 we had been doing the cultural fest. But one of the biggest issues that we encountered during the time was we went out to get sponsorships. Essentially, that's like the biggest part of organizing any event like this. And what we soon realized is that no one knows what ICER is. Right. I mean, we introduced ourselves that, hey, we are from ICER, and they would understand that truck company, EICHER, ICER. And that did not span out very well. So, I mean, what was clear is that we needed to maintain our own identity somehow in the local community. And even, I mean, I guess the people who are already associated with science in one way or the other knew what ICERs were, but the number wasn't met. So I guess what happened at the time was we started going out for sponsorships and stuff. We didn't find anything, not much, not without a lot of effort. But we were so what ISER Bhopal used to do, or I mean, I'm sure they're still doing it. We used to have these summer outreach camps
Yeah.
where the local students would come in from schools and they would be there. And we seem like that seems to be much more popular because I mean at least school students seem to know us. At least okay, there's a science institute. I mean, I was part of it in 2013, the organizing committee of the outreach program, and it really excited me. So what we decided to do essentially was to like basically bank on that idea. So just like go out and I mean, because almost every college does a cultural fest, right? So I mean, that doesn't stand you out. And what we realize is that, of course, we as IASCRs have to like build our profile based on what we are, like scientists, right? So what we decided to do at the time was that just go around and build something based on what we are. So I mean, at that time, like we only wanted to do a day or 2 day event just to like build ourselves, have like a bigger outreach version, invite students, have exhibitions for them and a popular talk and something. I mean, I'm very glad it turned out into what it is today. But I mean, I guess that was the basic idea. I mean, you just wanted to have something that will stand us out of the crowd and at least among students and maybe among some other people also. ICER, at least in Bhopal, would mean something when we go out in public.
Yes, that's good. That's really great. So I guess IISER Bhopal is one of the very few institutes that actually
Mhm.
have an exclusive science fest. Most of them
Mhm.
have like a science and tech fest or a cultural
Yeah.
science and tech fest. So I think this really gives our institute and a unique identity. So yes,
Yeah.
we're all glad that you actually introduced us.
I mean, I shouldn't take the credit myself. There were a lot of people, of course, and it
Absolutely, yeah.
was the making. But yeah, oh, thank you very much.
So okay, how did the name Singularity come about? I guess everyone's curious to know about that.
I mean, I mean, you already answered it, right? I mean, so we know that, I mean, way before the Science Fest ever started, or even before Science Council, or even the SSC was anything. So it started in 2010. So basically, we were finishing our first year. We were the second batch of ICERB, and we were finishing our first year, and we were very, very excited to get some new juniors like with us, like some new faces we could experiment upon our ideas and stuff like that. So what we wanted to do was just like in the heat of that, we were like trying to introduce new things. And I think two big things that were introduced at the time was our sports club and the science club. So it's basically all the geeky people one side and all the athletic people one side. So we decided to make a science club and a sports club. And so I mean, at the time we I mean, there weren't. I mean, people things were easy back then. Like there weren't enough people to hold a poll or something. All we had to do was just after dinner in the evening, just sit in like the ITI campus that used to be at the time, and just like sit
Yeah.
on the ground and like 4 or 5 people randomly start talking about ideas, and that's how the name came about. I think it was Tarun Sharma, who was one of my batchmates, who came up with this name first, but that's just from the top of my head. But yeah, this was the name of the science club. Then when we started SSC in 2011, this word singularity became almost synonymous to the Science Council. And then in 2014, we gave it its own identity in terms of the Science Council.
Okay, that sounds great. So, what were some of the events that were there in the first edition? Like maybe we can contrast it to some of the events that are there now, and maybe Rishikesh and Shreyansh can give an idea about the events that are there now.
I mean, I think, yeah, at the time, it's just very basic things, right? I mean, because we didn't have much in mind, so it was basically mainly an outreach function. So we went around to the schools, like one by one. Like I myself visited 3 or 4 schools, and like there were teams. We would just like hire a jeep from the security of ISO Bhopal. We just like take them to different schools, just go talk to them, give them presentations of what we were. And so mainly there's people like students came, and there was a science exhibition kind of. They made projects and they displayed it. We also, I remember we had a domino effect event where like everybody was supposed to make like something to do with domino effect, and that worked out pretty well. uh, I don't remember if there was a gaming event at the time. I'm not sure. Maybe there
Right.
was. And there was a public talk. So that I think was it. Yeah.
Right. So maybe Rishikesh and Shreyansh can give an idea about the kind of events that we have now.
Yeah.
I think most of them started with the same that they started. Like I think we still have domino effect. I don't know if the
Yeah.
present thing, right? An exhibition act, yeah, like exhibition domino effect. Renaissance. I don't know when it exactly started, but I think it's also kind of an old event
Yes.
because it was there in 2016, and I'm not sure if it was there in the earlier editions, but yeah. Other than that, yeah, public talks every singularity. That's a tradition. Like at least one public talk in every singularity, and
Mhm.
yeah, going out to school is like now like a regular activity during singularity. Like a team of students going out to every school, handing out posters and inviting the
Mhm.
students over to come to participate. Yeah. So those
Right.
things are pretty similar to what, and then and then every year a few like the committees would come up with 2 or 3 newer events that I think either they get incrementally added to the next year, or they just are a one-off event that okay, this was unique to this singularity and this was unique to that singularity.
Yeah, I think
Right.
even workshops are also a thing right now. So like every singularity, so there's a workshop that is being organized by someone else, and students get to participate in it. So
Mhm.
I think that has also become sort of added to the culture of singularity, which is to get exposure to different things. Then yeah, Renaissance, domino effect, and even bad ad hoc hypothesis are some of those events
Mhm.
Yeah,
that
the classic events.
the classic events, so to speak, which get a lot of participation. Then, yeah, Shreyant said we have new events every year.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah. Also, like I think that with the institute opening up with more these engineering departments, the fest is also now opening up to more of the tech-oriented events, which is
Yeah,
also
right.
helping in the growth of it as like participation. There are a lot of students that are now are coming in are also from that technology background, like engineering background.
Yeah.
even there was so in 2019 we had this event for the economics department students, because that was the first batch of economics department. So we had something like a policy making sort of competition for economic students, so that I mean at least they would be able to relate to a fest that is primarily dominated by STEM fields.
Yes, that is great. I think in my tenure as well, we organized something exclusively for the economic students. It was called Stock Market Simulation. I think a lot of people really enjoyed that. And this year as well, so Singularity 2021, they are having, I think they're having an event related to economics, which is also really nice. So I think it's catching on. Yeah.
The gaming part of the fest, I think, has diverged a bit from Singularity. It used to be part of Singularity, but now it's being organized by this club called the Computing and Networking Council. So they
Yeah.
have a separate fest called Armageddon just for that, for all the
Mhm.
gaming people.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, next question. The evolution of the fest every year is obviously, it is imperative for its success. So, how do you guys think the fest has evolved over the years? And is it in a place where you envisioned it to be? So, maybe we can start with Akash.
Oh, I mean, I first cannot say much about how has evolved because I have decoupled from it. I mean, quite a while ago. But I do get to see it every year or once in a while, like coming up on my Facebook feed or like Instagram feed or something. And I mean, it does make me proud a lot because I guess like from being from the beginning batches, like one of the important things to you, or I mean, for instance, to me, is that whatever legacy you leave behind gets carried upon or like gets picked up on, and that was like one of the nicest things that people are still excited about things that we started. So I mean, of course, like it has evolved a lot in scope, in scale, and in people it reaches to, and that makes me very happy, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, Shreyansh, what would you
Yeah,
like to say?
I think like it is slowly but surely growing. I mean, it's still in its starting phases, but I'm sure like as we grow, more and more schools from Bhopal will come and participate and like get to know, as like Akash said earlier, the campus and the ISER and like just this science background of it all. And I think that is the main motto of the fest, and I think that is where we are actually growing as well. I know like in 2016 we had like some two or three schools coming. Then next year we had four. Next year we had six. And I know that this number, I'm not sure, but I think Rishi and you also had a lot of school participation, right?
Mhm.
That is the one part that I'm really happy about seeing here, and also like even from the our own community as well, like the ISA students, a lot many students are now participating. Like seeing the hall filled during the Renaissance is a really good feeling.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, Rishi, what would you like to say?
Yeah, so like with regard to the school outreach part, yes, we have had like better and more warmer responses from the school community. I mean, so since I mean my tenure was just like 2 years ago, I still have a lot of suggestions. Let's put it that way, on what the fest could be. But I mean, then again, that's up to the new core committee. So like one thing that I have always felt is that the fest always cater to a niche audience of science students. But even in that case, there's a lot of colleges that we need to break into, science colleges in and around Bhopal. And colleges are somewhere where we always find that participation is sort of lacking. I mean, we had gone to colleges, we had invited them, but most of them are basically interested in the colorful posters that we give them than the fest itself. And except for AKS Satna, which I mean, every year they happen to come for Singularity. I don't know how they do it, but apparently they are as enthusiastic as they could be. So colleges are somewhere I think that we need to break into, especially in MP. And I mean, seeing how far the fest has come, I mean, there has been a lot of improvement in this regard, but I mean, there is also a lot of scope for growth. So that's what I feel.
Right, yeah, yeah. So I think this fact that a lot of the previous science council secretaries are still like slightly, I mean, whenever like last year I've talked to some of the science council secretaries and they have all expressed it like a renewed enthusiasm for knowing how the science fest is going on right now. So that is something that actually gives the current organizers a sense of motivation or encouragement to actually carry forward the legacy and introduce new things. So I think that's great. Okay. So yeah, we've talked about reaching out to the community outside, but what do you think about the community inside? How do we convey the excitement that science possesses, and what role over the years has this played in the popularity and support of the fest within ISRB? So, like, do you think that Singularity has become more popular now? And have we, successfully uh, encouraged more participants within Aizer Bhopal?
I mean, again, this is not a question that I can answer very well, right? Because
Yeah, I guess Shreyansh and Rishikesh provide an
yeah,
perspective.
I mean, I guess for me, like at least in the year I was, because it was the very first event, maybe just because that's why, but people were a lot excited. I mean, I think we never, in any of the event, we never had a participation issue. But then again, I can only, I don't have a lot of statistics to say. I only have one data point here. And
Yeah, so I mean, there are two sides to this argument, right? Like numerically, yes, we have more number of students, but well, that's because we have more number of entrants. So yeah, so I really agree the point that you had no participation issue in any event, but like nowadays it is a like a problematic situation because even the participation among the students body we'll see first and second years mostly, third years will be organizing, and then the fourth and fifth years will be either in their lecture halls or in their rooms. Like the highest participation percentage is from the first year. Of course, they are excited. This is a new campus. Singularity happens to be the first event. As soon as they come in, they will participate a lot. But then after that, it's barely any participation from any other. So I think that is one section where we need to improve and improve by a lot.
Yeah, so what do you guys think? How can we encourage more participants to come?
I mean, I guess, I mean, it's natural. I mean, I cannot say. I mean, it should be natural as a constant as you grow, but it's natural for the final years to not try and participate because, of course, I mean, at least when you're in fifth year. I mean, I can say it firsthand. Like, of course, I organized the first Singularity while being in my fifth year, so definitely take me as an exception. But it's definitely the case that while you are in your final years, you probably want to disconnect as much as possible from the ongoings because of course like the pressure is very high while you're but I think I mean if you I mean I think shouldn't try to focus too much on trying to get fourth and fifth years. I mean, of course, if they're interested, they will participate. They can definitely be more of the guiding light per se for the festival. And if a fifth year comes and participates actively in the fest, that would be an exception in my view. I think yeah, but if you but everyone at least up until their third years should I mean you should be reasonably able to expect them to actively participate in all the events. I mean, the same goes for SSC in general, right? I mean, in any of the elections or councils and everywhere, even while we founded SSC in 2011, we knew that very well, that after fourth and fifth year, probably the only representation you're going to see is in the representatives council. Because
Yeah, that's still very valid.
yeah. I mean, and because it's, I mean, it's very challenging to challenge essentially the natural flow of events. And of course, as you grow, you want to focus more on your career, I suppose, and where you will end up after this life of ISA has been competed with. So I think we shouldn't try to focus too much on trying to bring, especially the senior people in. But I think what should definitely, I mean, definitely try to involve them as much as possible. But reasonably speaking, you should expect first, second, third years, and maybe the one, I mean, among the PhD population and the postdoc population, maybe the people who have recently joined. Because again, PhDs and postdocs who have been there for 2 or 3 years will likely be more involved in their labs than things that have been going around.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, so I think another important part of how Singularity, turns out is the support from faculties as well as the administration. So Akash, could you like give a brief idea of how I mean how if you received like a good support from the faculty and admin during your time?
I mean, I cannot say about what's happened now, but at that time, we couldn't have done it without them, right? Because, I mean, very fundamental things like funding. Of course, even at the time we were starting the first fest, nobody knew us. And most funding came through the external scientific, agencies who used to supply lab equipment or something like that to ISA Bhopal. And through those contacts, through through the effort of many faculty members and through those contacts, we were able to secure enough funding to get the event going. Even then, that wasn't enough, and the director himself gave, I think, the amount of funding we secured, he gave twice that amount from the institute budget to get us going. So, I mean, yeah, we had a lot of support from everybody. I mean, not just the logistics, right? I mean, because we didn't know as many people to invite at the time to give popular talks and such. So, like, in all that matters, I mean, of course, if I were to write an email to a senior faculty member at the time, I don't think anybody would take me seriously. So, even that part, I mean, of course, we gave the official invitations, but the behind the scenes job was done again by faculty members, so just informally telling them to come in. So I think, yeah, of course, as we grow as a fest, right, things will try to become more and more independent. The student body will try to do it more and more independently. But at least in the beginning years, there was no way it was possible without faculty and admin support.
Right. And Shreyansh and Rishikesh, how do you guys think that the support from faculties and the administration has evolved over the years?
Well, I think the support is kind of similar, but the bureaucracy has evolved to a different level to make that support a bit more complicated.
Yeah.
But yeah, the faculty tries to help in every way and form they can. The bureaucracy is a roadblock, really.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
the
that's roadblock everywhere, right? That's,
Yeah,
that's something you have to, I mean, you have to learn to deal with.
true. Like
True,
I,
true.
I I think in the 2017, yeah, 2017 Singularity. I think Parvati was not there. We hit we hit a major roadblock when we had everything planned out, everything done, and like a week or two before our event, we were informed by the LHC that the management that the LHC has already been booked for what is the SPA convocation.
Right.
And like we had no clue at that time. Okay, what we are going to do now?
Yeah.
What we're going at that time, really the faculty came to our rescue. Like, okay, we talked to the HODs and they said yes, you can go ahead and use the ABs as much as they want, and like that time that saved us really. That's why I don't think we could have done a Singularity that year.
Yeah, the
Wow.
faculties are like especially supportive. I mean, given that you have a plan, the administration, I mean, the climate at least here has changed a bit in a sense that it becomes a lot more. It becomes a lot more inefficient with regard to how things are being done. There's a lot of paperwork that is to be done additionally right now. So, I mean, I wouldn't call that a hindrance, but that it requires one to be more planned than usual than was the case the previous year or the year before that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's true, right? I mean, of course, at our time things were very much less formal. Like I remember for the first cultural fest that we did, we used to just walk into director's cabin, like without even happen or anything. Just discuss ideas with him, right? And it became harder and harder. By the time Singularity came about, we had to approach his secretary first, and then make an appointment, and then talk to him. So things evolved even during our time there. But yeah, because we knew almost every senior person personally, because we started out with them, it was much easier, of course. So like most of the paperwork that had to be done could be done after the planning was already done. So just to formalize stuff. I'm sure it's a hindrance now, but that would tend to happen when an institute grows. And I suppose we cannot circumvent bureaucracy, but what we should try to do is make it efficient, because these
Yes.
things will need to be done. But yeah, we have to focus on making it efficient.
Right. And I think that's one way we can learn about these things as well, right? Another question. How do you think inviting professors and leading researchers to give keynote lectures adds to the essence of Singularity? I mean, every Singularity we definitely have a public lecture happening. So how do you think that adds to the essence of Singularity?
I mean, okay, being a theorist myself, I think it's irreplaceable, right? In my view, no science event will be. I mean, science is, of course, yeah. You want to make hands-on experience. You want to make it fun. You want to make it admissible. You want to make it approachable. But there's no denying that science communication is a very important part of doing science. Like, doesn't matter how well you understand a concept, doesn't matter how well you know it, how much work you've done, unless you can communicate it. So I think like just having someone go up there and actually talking about like actual research and actual things that have been going around in the scientific community, and like give a talk, and like basically that grounds us in the sense that that is what the pure aspect of science is, and people attend that lecture, and that's the intellectual bit. So you go like a usual lecture, you go sit in, maybe with notes or not, maybe with a cup of coffee, but you listen to a talk and you listen to people talking about science. And I think that's a very important part, because of course you can, I mean, there's something I like to say, like when people talk about physics, right, they introduce physics, and excuse me because I'm talking about physics, because that's of course the only thing that I know really. So when we introduce physics to students, and we did it ourselves, right, when we are third years and we are talking about first, second years, or even the outreach students, we tell them about pictures, we tell them about galaxies, the black holes, we tell them about superconductors. So I mean, we tell them pretty pictures, but that's not science, right? Science is equations. Pictures come about as a representation, but black holes are not these nice massive black objects. They are really like Einstein's equations. These are Schwarzschild's equations. So there's no denying that like science is that, and you should have an aspect of it, no matter where the fest goes.
Right. Yeah. Shreyansh and Rishikesh, would you like to say something about it?
I would think that he really summed it up. Right?
Yeah,
there's
basically.
nothing more to add.
At our time, actually, the thing was we were a bit more focused on the science communication aspect of it. So, I mean, instead of calling a professor, what we thought was, so what we generally felt, at least in my time, was that having a talk on a technical subject was a big, I mean, it was a bit off-putting for many people in the audience, unless you are of that subject. I mean, it's great if you are organizing a great physics talk in a physics club, for example. But then you wouldn't, I mean, not many people would be able to appreciate it. So what we thought was we would, pull it a bit more to the science communication side. And basically that's what ended up happening. So we had someone from Nature. She was the editor in Nature India. And she basically gave a talk on aspects of science communication and publishing in Nature and things like that. So yeah, as you mentioned, as Akash mentioned, science communication is as important, because at the end of the day, it's the policymakers who fund science. So I mean, if they don't understand what we're doing, if they don't understand what a black hole is or what string theory is, then it'll become difficult. So it's I guess it's as important.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I think over the years we've had a lot of different workshops. So maybe if you guys have organized workshops in your tenure, maybe you could give an idea of what kind of workshops you held, and were these workshops helpful in were these workshops, did these workshops aid in learning new and fun skills, and was this a fundamental part of the fest motto? So we could encourage people to start learning new skills, or if we could promote new skills.
I mean, I don't recall if we organized any workshops in the first Singularity. I mean, if we did, maybe some part of the subcommittee did, and I was too overwhelmed by just the logistics of it. So I could not add much to that topic. But I'm sure the other two guests have something to say about it.
I think we did organize one. We did organize one workshop in our Singularity, but like no one was really happy about it. Not even the organizers. So I think to answer that question, that would be a no. But yeah, the next year, I think you guys organized some science communication workshop, which was a neat idea from the Aizer Pune Media Club. So that workshop idea, I was more impressed with than any of the previous workshops that I had attended and I had seen in science Singularity, to be honest.
Again, the science communication thing, what we realized at the end of it, so in the first session there were a lot of people in the session before lunch, but in the session after lunch it was only basically the people who were more interested towards how science could be depicted to the public, the artistic side of it, the aesthetic appeal, who stick till the end. So I mean, I'm just happy that it at least found a niche audience. Although I mean, I'm not sure whether everybody enjoyed it, but yeah.
I mean, I guess once you feed people, they go back home.
Yeah.
That is true.
You give people what they want, basically. Okay. Another question. What were some of the tricks of trade you picked up from previous secretaries or from each other or otherwise, which came in handy when it was your turn to organize Singularity? Maybe Shreyansh and Rishikesh could give a perspective on this because Akash organized it for the first time, right?
I mean, I did pick some trade from like my seniors' previous experience from organizing other fests, right? So I think one of the most important experiences was don't piss off the admin. So right, so like they're very helpful to you in the long run of organizing and everything. So that's and definitely the second thing what I found useful is I think I mean during within the organizing committee, try to minimize the number of named posts as much as possible. In the sense that the thing is things get internally politicized very quickly in things like that. People very often it happens that like they're trying to run into the credits. They're trying to talk about the credit of what has been done. So I think that was one of the most. That's why we didn't have many named posts. And not nearly as many as we had in Enthusia, the cultural fest. I think that kept things sober because people didn't have much to compete within the committee or within the core committee.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, I think that's good. So yeah, Shreyansh.
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing that I learned from my previous Singularity, as I told that the previous Singularity we had this big final day revelation that we don't have the LHC. So the first thing that I think we had to do is make everything concrete as soon as possible. So we started all our bookings, everything that we were doing like a month or two in advance, and we were having a just a concrete receipt of everything that we had, and we had done all the bookings, all the confirmations. Like a month before the Singularity, we had everything basically planned and ready to go. So that is one thing that I think the biggest thing that I learned from the previous editions. And like, well, I won't say we had everything planned and ready to go because we still had many last moment decisions. You can't avoid just some of them. No
I mean,
matter.
those are always there, right? So,
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, not as big as that. That we can't handle like those. Yeah, like apart from that, in general, just talking to the administration, as he also mentioned, you have to know the right person to talk to in the administration. So that is something that we picked up from our previous, like I picked up from my previous Singularity organizers.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, for me personally, so like I was not part of the Singularity committee or the Science Council before it actually happened. So therefore, I was not. I mean, I did not know a lot about what is to be done. So then I always used to constantly pester Shreyansh. I used to keep texting him, even if he was extremely busy, then he would reply eventually. So I mean, that was a great help. So everything from paperwork to, as Shreyansh mentioned, like the booking the LHCs part at least. I mean, we did that much before because of this issue that Shreyansh had cited. Similarly, like from the other secretaries who were there at that time, I had like, so one other important thing was related to team management, which was basically your vice secretaries are not any different from you. As in, when it comes to the amount of work that is to be done and everything else, even in the decision making, I mean, they do as much as you do, and you're just first among equals when it comes to the administration, meeting up with the administration. But in everything else, it was the same. So based my whole my tenure based on that idea, which is having a good set of vice secretaries. and also things like where to involve the admin and where to keep them away, so that your paperwork is essentially easy and you can do things efficiently. That is also something I picked up from my predecessors. Yeah.
Right. Okay, okay. Yeah, I think like I have pestered all of the previous secretaries a lot, but yeah, it's because of them that I've like been able to organize a lot of what I have. So that is good. So that brings me to another point. How important do you think is having a good core committee or a team to ensure the smooth conduct of the fest?
Sorry, I'm saying that's pretty obvious, right? I mean, you cannot organize a fest if there's no one to organize it. So suppose, I mean, in every aspect, like I guess uh, all the external factors aside, the biggest internal factor is to have a committee that works together well. I mentioned it just now, like a committee that can avoid internal politics and does not hunt for credit among themselves is actually quintessential to getting the stuff done. Because and it doesn't have to be a big committee. I mean, 4 or 5 people, I think, would be enough, or even 20 might not be enough if they are not collaborating nicely among themselves. Because there is a lot of work to be done at the sponsorship level, admin level, bookings level, going to schools level, and every level essentially. And you need people to do it. And you need people to do it, and without actually having, you have nothing to offer them as material incentives, right? So you cannot actually, so the only incentive that can come in is from themselves. In the long run, yes, they might be able to look upon it nicely, but you don't have anything to offer them materialistic wise. So that's why you need a team of motivated people who can actually come in together without a hunt of credit, without internal politics, and they can actually work together to make something nice. And I think, yeah, I mean, without it, I mean, we have had, I mean, not I mean, at least because I already did one science fest, so I don't have much data, but we have had other organizations during my time there when the team wasn't as well coordinated. And the thing is that the biggest of ideas come to ground when you don't implement them properly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So Shreyansh and Rishikesh.
Yeah, like I think it is extremely important because as I said, you're not going to do everything alone. In fact, you won't be able to do anything if you don't have a team. So, yeah, just dividing the task and having people who can do it, that is like the main aspect of organizing a fest.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, like if your team, I mean, I do feel that the team has to involve people who are proactive in the first place. That is, they can do things without having to ask them to do it. They take up work, and as Akash said, like without, I mean, there won't be any incentives. You can't incentivize it. The only thing is what you learn from it at the end of the day. So, I mean, you will have to keep reiterating that bigger purpose sort of a thing. But yeah, I think that's important, and also to not be surrounded by a core committee that is full of yes people, that is people who agree to whatever you say, because in that sense you are likely to end up doing things which won't come into fruition. So having a core committee that might disagree with you or have different outlooks on certain things, it's important. That dynamic is important to ensure that whatever you're doing is I mean, practical and can be completed within the given time frame. So yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, I think we should give a huge shout out to all of our teams that have helped us organize Singularity. So yes, here's a huge shout out to all of those amazing people who have helped organize Singularity and who have been involved in Singularity in some way or the other, right? Yeah, thank you all of you. So this is like a more casual question. Could you narrate some memorable anecdotes from your tenures in the organizing committee of Singularity?
Anecdotes. I think the entire festival was an anecdote for me because I'll tell you why, right? Because that was a time when I was supposed to be applying for PhD admissions, and I was applying. I think the day before the fest, I was supposed to appear for my gate exam a day before. Me and Rahul Soni, we were the two people from fifth year that were organizing it that year. We both had our gate exams the day before, and yet from a week before, we were like just completely within this. And somehow we both were confident that we would get our gate done anyway. So we did that. I remember like the day of the gate exam, we were supposed to leave in the morning, and still we were like we just surrounded all the hustled all the Singularity people, just told them what they would do and till what time we'll be back, and then we will pick it up from when we come back. So that was a very nice experience, because at least to me that showed, I mean, even just us and even everyone, so like people did take responsibility from us, so they made sure that nothing was going haywire if we had to take time off for a while. And that really showed me the teamwork and the motivation at the time, like people were into it irrespective of what was done. So I think, yeah, so that would be the biggest. And even for me, yeah, the having a gate exam right before Singularity was a very big deal. Otherwise, I think it was just like the entire thing was an experience. I mean, when you start anything for the first time and you don't have much to look up to, only look forward to, you have to rely a lot on people who you are helping organize it.
Right. Yeah. Shayansh?
Yeah, like yeah, I had a few very weird experiences, maybe, but yeah, not weird, but like kind of that. As I said, those last moment things that you always remember because of how much panic they can cause, right? So I remember for our public talks, we had two speakers. We called one for physics, one for bio, but then a few days before the event, the one of the speakers they canceled because they had some medical issues. And by that time all our posters were printed, all our big like flex boards and website and everything had their name and picture, and then we had to just we had to improvise. We had to cut the other posters, paint it with the same color, paste it everywhere, and then go around the campus pasting it. So that was one experience.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, for me personally, I mean, there are so many experiences. So one was this. I mean, it was a stupid thing, but like one of us had to book a flight for our chief guests, and what happened was he had asked for an extra large seating, but the person who did the booking, which was on us also, so the person who did the booking did not book it that way. They booked a normal regular seat, and then we got this long email from our chief guest who was supposed to come 2 days later, saying you shouldn't cut corners and try to save up on money by not booking what is required. So I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, when he came, it was all fun. When we took him for rounds around the campus, and then he was giving all these suggestions on how ISAB could, I mean, learn things ISAB could emulate and learn from IIT Bombay, where he was from. So that was very interesting. And also like things like people, I mean, everybody was like pretty, I mean, enthusiastic. So there was this one day where we had to paint a huge scaffolding, which was to be put up in the lecture hall complex, and nobody knew, like, I mean, nobody was like creator or something. So we just randomly took I mean, there was a paint box and then there was paint in it. So we dipped the brush, and then the idea was to like represent stars in a dark background. So we just kept pouring paint all over, and everybody was in on it, and it was a very, I mean, it was bonding. It was a bonding exercise, so to say, like for everyone in the committee. So that was a really fun exercise.
Right. Nice. That's nice. Okay. So what other life lessons have you learned from your experience in organizing Singularity?
Life lessons. I don't know,
Important life lessons.
Yeah, this is a place where quotations come in, right? I think, yeah, to say things very boldly, I think the biggest life lesson would be that, I mean, nice things can happen. Even the biggest of the challenges can be achieved if you have people who collaborate within themselves. So I suppose when you're working on something, I mean, of course, you should dream. You should dream about things. You should dream, but you should also like not forget that those dreams will be fulfilled only when you work towards it. So I think for me, while organizing Singularity, or even, I mean, because we one of the first batches had to start everything from scratch, and basically everything that I see now in terms of SAC, Singularity, Science Councils, or anything, I just look back to the time when none of it existed, right? So most of these things started from 4 or 5 people. Sports club started with like a cricket set, and science club started with just having our own projector. And these things, and slowly over time, these things have evolved. And I think the only factor that you really need, I mean, administration will change, faculties will change, external factors will change, COVID will come and go. The only thing that remains constant is participation. So if as an organizing committee or as people, as public, or as rights, right? If we participate in something, or if we try to make it grand, we will make it grand.
Right. Yeah. Shansh?
Yeah, for me, the one main lesson that I had from the whole experience was that you can't really say no when you are organizing something. You have to ready to do whatever comes to your plate. You have to ready to eat whatever comes to your plate. When someone asks you, when something needs to be done and like there is no one else to do it, then you have to do it. Like no matter how difficult or how uncharacteristic that thing must be.
Yeah, I mean, that reminds me, like I actually for my own graduation, I knew I was about to graduate in 2 days, and there was like the first time ISA was holding a graduation ceremony, and I think Pranav Mukherjee was going to be in, and we had to like paint some posters and stuff and some decorative stuff, and somehow like the admin people only knew me, and so they told me to get it organized, and I couldn't find anyone, so I went and like printed the posters myself and hung them up 2 days before I was going to leave campus. So yeah, that is very true. Once you are in those kind of positions, in that kind of light, you have to be prepared to do anything.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rishikesh?
and so in my case, I think it's like basically the first thing I would say is that it's important to live in the moment, because if you are constantly, when you're planning all this, you'll be constantly thinking about what is left to be done, what you have forgotten, and trying to jot it down all the time. But I mean, you can't work on by being anxious about it all the time. So then the best thing would be to focus on what you have to do for the day, and then move to the next day. Don't try to keep thinking about what is left to be done too much, in the sense that it will give you an anxiety. Also, I think organizing a fest is a lot. I mean, you learn a lot about yourself, your weaknesses, your character. So I think that was important in the sense that it helped me in becoming, or helped me in having a better self-awareness, so to speak. And also to be more practical. So like, I mean, it's important to have ideas, but it's also as important to get them done, and get them done. So it's so it helped me to explore more of that execution side of things. So yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I guess Singularity has been like a life changer for a lot of us, right? Yeah. So yeah, this one last point. I think you might have known that in 2020 the event moved online due to COVID. So how much do you think the change in format captured the true essence of what Singularity entails for the community? And what do you think was good, and what do you think was missing? Maybe Rishikesh wants to know more about it. So
I mean, of course, I don't know much about it. Rishikesh and Shayans do. I think I cannot say much about what was nice, but definitely there are things that were missing, right? When you move to online format. I mean, nothing can beat the face-to-face and hands-on experience.
absolutely.
I mean, there is a lot of learning material online. You can just go on YouTube and learn basically anything you want, right? From cooking all the way to anything about Higgs boson, essentially. So it's not really that. I mean, the role that outreach programs such as Singularity or like a science festival is supposed to achieve is that bring people in one room and like give them hands-on experience with something, make them excited about things. And I think so of course, like I'm proud and I'm delighted that against all odds some format of Singularity continued. So when nothing was possible, there was an effort to at least have it online and like continue the legacy or continue the stream, so to speak, so that it continues in some format. But at the same time, I suppose that in long run this shouldn't become the norm, because it's very easy to get comfortable. I mean, practically speaking, I'm sure it costs less to do it online. It is less. I mean, there's obviously more hassle in some aspects, but I think overall it's less hassle to just do things online rather than deal with public, deal with people coming in, going out, deal with, as you said, making posters, like sticking posters. So there's of course less work, but we shouldn't get comfortable with that. That would be my suggestion, is that yes, of course we are doing the best of what we can given the circumstances, but when time allows again, we should again come out of our comfort zone and try to do things face to face and hands on again.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I agree totally.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Like, I think it's not the same thing, but again, like, given the situations, it's the best we can do. And as of now, it would be unfair to compare it, but yeah, like, I don't think this should be the norm, because this is what we can do right now. There is nothing better. But when we have the opportunity to do it better, we should strive to do it better.
Yeah, I think Parvati did a great job given what she had with her.
Yeah,
which was,
absolutely.
yeah, like I mean, you organized a fest in the middle of a pandemic, and I mean, yeah. So it was great in the sense that I think it gave you, or perhaps it gave you more ideas on what to explore for online events. So like that's usually a bit, it's not as explored. So having it online helps you give that sort of a perspective. So yeah, and as they all said, like it shouldn't be the norm, but we can still learn from what are we at least broke into in with regard to online events and online management of things, which will help in expanding the fest in the future, I believe.
Yeah, right. I think one very good part of it was that we were able to reach out to participants from all over the world, like mostly all over the country, but also we also got a lot of participants from outside India as well. So in terms of that, the online format was a very good thing. But I agree, like we were not able to conduct a lot of events that were like classic Singularity events, like Renaissance. So which actually attracts a lot of participants. So those events we were not able to conduct, and we definitely really miss those events. But yeah, the online format did give us its advantages. Plus, like in the middle of a pandemic, organizing an event like Singularity that brings together everyone, it felt really good. Like, so some of the events like Barrett Hawk Hypothesis saw a lot of participants and a lot of people attending it as well. So in that way, being able to see everyone at one place, it felt really good. So I think in that way, Singularity did uphold the spirit. Yeah.
I mean, this is what Shansh just said, right? You cannot say no. So once you're in that seat and you're expected to organize it, you have to find a solution anyhow.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, good job.
Thank you. Okay, so any advice for organizing for the organizing committee of future batches that you guys would like to give?
Well,
I mean, I guess the whole session was a huge like an advice, but yeah.
I think you guys are doing really great. I mean, of course, it has been a long time since I left Bhopal, for 7 years, to be honest. And you see a lot of things, and you try to learn a lot of things, and there are many things you pick up on the way, which you hope were part of your culture as well. And I think one of these things which I picked up during my time at the Perimeter Institute in Canada. So for those of you who do not know, Perimeter Institute is like it's like a big publicly funded institute, and that most of its doings are actually have to do with dealing with public outreach and stuff like that. For instance, the time when this gravitational waves announcement came in, they organized a very big public event where they invited a speaker to talk about what has happened. And then they invited people from general public, and most of them were not students. They were like people in their middle 50s and 60s, and like general public who you don't typically associate with being interested with science. And they were there, the hall was full, and they were asking questions, and they were really interested. And that like told me that we don't, I mean, of course we want to include students, we want to outreach to schools, we want to involve colleges and everything. But as Chikesh was just saying a little while ago, these are not the policymakers, right? These are not even a fraction of what our population is. Science is an aspect of society, but it's not everything, right? I mean, from any standards, you might make a case that it's essential for every aspect of life, but even then, it is not every aspect of life. And there are people going from bankers to like people, CAs, commerce, even businessmen, who are there, who are very intellectual, and who might not be scientists. So I think we should, I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't be able to give you any concrete ideas how to do it, but maybe try to make an effort to even involve larger like society, just like give them a flavor of science now and then. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything very huge. Maybe like organize a public event like Perimeter did once a while, once a year, or when something big happens in the field of science. Just make it open to everybody. You can even sell tickets and they will sell out, I'm sure. But like just invite general public and give a talk that is as non-technical as you can make it. And invite a speaker that you know will interest people who are not scientists by profession as well. And I think that will do very good. Not just to Singularity, but I think as a scientific culture in India in general. You could maintain a mailing list, for instance, which anyone from the general public can subscribe to. I'm not sure how many publicly accessible events IISER Bhopal or in general science institutes do at the moment. But if you try to make something like that once a year, even having a mailing list, just reaching out to people, inviting them would actually be very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think something like an open day would actually be really nice. But I think one big obstacle there is that our institute is like really far away from the city.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, it is, right? But almost all premier institutes at the time of their inception, right? They generally, you try to keep them as away from city as possible. I'll tell you, Perimeter is in the middle of nowhere, right? It's like almost 2 hours train ride from Toronto, and people get to there just to get there, right? So that's a challenge that has to be overcome. Yes. But if you advertise yourself properly, you should definitely check out. I mean, they have the YouTube page. They make videos. They like popular articles. And if you make yourself accessible and interesting, I'm sure people can afford an hour commute from the city.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So like instead of, inviting them over here, somehow we get ourselves out there. Right. Yeah.
I mean, in fact, both, right? As I said, nothing beats a face-to-face experience to try to get them here. In the institute as well. At the same time, try to make content whenever you see something nice has happened in the field of science. Someone tells you about it. There's a talk about it. You try to make a small 15-20 minutes informative, like you might have seen TED Ed videos, right? Those infographics kind of videos. So just try to make something interactive and set it out to public, which will not bore them, but try to engage them and make them more interested in what we are.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So like this is the one thing that I would also advise the new committees to try to, because this is also something that we tried to do, but we could not. So our idea was to basically find a location in the city where we can hold such talks. We talked to a few libraries in Bhopal, and actually one of the libraries in Bhopal even agreed when we were there sitting in the office saying, okay, so our plan is that we'll take your hall, we'll give a public lecture, and you can have anyone come and sit. But then we tried to contact them again, and then we just could not contact them again. So, yeah, we tried a lot to secure a position, but we could not. Then we even tried with the schools. Like maybe our plan was to give this public lectures directly to the school, maybe once a month or twice a month, like once in a 2 month. But then no school was also ready to listen to a few students who are coming from a institute that they don't even know about even today. Like, so you passed out in 2014, but the condition of like schools not knowing about what this place either is as
I
not
mean,
not yeah,
I'm sure they know more than they did.
yeah, yeah,
And,
surely, but
and that's the idea, right? Progress is
yeah,
good, no matter how small.
yeah, true, true. Like apart from that, I don't like. I think this entire session was a big, advice to whatever the new committees and the organizers are. So yeah, like best of luck to whoever is trying to do or like we all like wish for the fest to grow and like for participants and schools and the science community, like the science outreach activities to have happen as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Shikesh?
Yeah, with regard to, I don't have, I don't have a lot of advice or something. But what I would say is that, yeah, again, with the point where the general public not knowing about ISOs or science fests and science, general science. So that is something that still haven't broken into. So that is something that we could try. Also, getting a whole college. So what we did was basically have a visit local colleges that are involved in science and ask them to come over. We gave them pamphlets and things like that. But at the end of the day, that was not enough to get them to come here. So, organizing lectures, as Shreyan said, we could try to do it in a public place where it's something, where it is something that is socially relevant as well, so that people will be able to better relate to it, and then slowly pull them towards, the more technical sides of it. And that also depends on the audience. So, we tried organizing lectures. So when the students had come over during the fest, we did have lectures organized by two faculties, so that they would be able to take back something away from the fest, apart from the experience of participating in the event. Then again, yeah, so colleges and the general public, that is somewhere, even organizations like MPCST could be brought in to actually help in this process, because they usually do fund events. Unfortunately, at the time we went approaching asking for funds, they did not have any funds. So, but they're all enthusiastic about organizing events and involving the public in it. So that, as Shreyan said, that is something that the new committees could try implementing. And all the best for all the future committees.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
as far as involving colleges goes, I just so it's something again I picked up while I was in Durham in England. So we used to do this. It's not a fest. We used to do this science. Young physics conference that involved all PhDs and young students, and we wanted to involve not just our university but local universities as well. And what something that worked was to have something called ambassadors. So what you can have is like from other institutes or other colleges or even other ICERs that you want to involve. Because if people commute for a sports fest, they can definitely commute for a science fest from one institute to other, right? So what could help is having ambassadors. So you approach other, I don't know, they might have some sort of science council or some version of it, or even otherwise you might know some people personally there, and you could try to involve them and officially make them ambassadors of Singularity or something like that, or external partners. And then their sole responsibility would be, not towards the organizational side, because you're doing that and already, but would be to involve people from their college or their institute into the fest. So that really worked there. So we had ambassadors from a couple of other institutions, and within a couple of years we saw almost as active participation as from our own university. So I think that might really help.
Right. Yeah. I think also with like improvements in technology and like communication, I think we are able to reach out to more people, right? Yeah. So I think that's great.
To add a point, like I think the newer councils are doing this thing where there's a common WhatsApp group of all the council secretaries from different ISOs, so
Yeah.
that whenever there's a fest, there's an easy access through WhatsApp, and you can let them know about fests and things like that. They could forward it to their respective RCs. So that is something I think we can work towards.
Yeah. So
I think it's still happening.
I didn't even know if other ICERs had science councils or
they
something.
do actually.
I mean, I know we were one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Right.
See,
Yeah.
But, I know ICER Pune had followed suit soon after, but I don't know if the institutions have it yet or not.
Yeah, most institutes do. And in fact, I think a lot of most of the ISOs were planning to actually have something on similar grounds to IICM and IISM, but something for science. So somewhere where all ISOs could get together and have a science event, basically. So I think that's great if that actually comes about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think all of us are used to having like pulling all-nighters and used to having long meetings, but I think we should not exceed the time limit for today. Yeah, so I guess we can call it a day. And would you guys like to give any closing remarks?
Well, I mean, just all the best to everyone and keep up the good work. And thank you very much for inviting me. It was a really nice, nostalgic experience.
Right. Yeah, you guys,
Yeah.
Chant?
Yeah, like all the best for you guys in organizing Singularity, the Science Council Secretary, and yes, thank you for inviting me. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add.
Absolutely. Okay. Rishi?
Yeah, and like enjoy if you're organizing or if you're participating. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to enjoy the fest. So, I mean, hopefully that is what we need, and all the best for all the future councils. And thank you for inviting me as well.
All right, yeah. I hope we did justice to mapping the history of Singularity. I know there were a lot of secretaries that we were unable to contact, but they have all, equally been instrumental in developing Singularity to where it is today. So this is a huge shout out to them as well. Yeah, and I think Singularity has been a huge life changer to a lot of us, right? And I really hope it becomes a life changer to a lot of the audience, whoever is new to this, and the coming batches as well. So yes, I really hope to see Singularity grow and become something we all wanted it to be, right? Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So thank you, guys, and to the audience, if you have reached till here, thank you so much for listening.